Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Story Darlings podcast.
I know you missed us.
Yeah. I think this is episode, 5?
5? Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's already been 5. And this is Sandra.
And this is Tara.
And today, what are we talking about, Tara?
Something that I take very, very seriously, Sandra. The TV show Supernatural. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that everyone has heard at least of this TV show. It's only been around for like over 15 years or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Isn't it like one of the longest running TV series ever? Yeah. And I feel like TV series nowadays are so short. They're kept to like 8-10 episodes, maybe like even 10 episodes is like a bit long for a season length. But this one, back in the day, we were probably in college or something, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like 22 or so episodes a season,
which is
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy amount to go 15 seasons with 22, 23 episodes, something like that per season is insane. And I think this is one of those really fun popcorn type of shows that I enjoyed at different parts of my life. And you kind of feel like you grew up with the characters. But before we get into that, it's a new week. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm enjoying spending time with you, though. Like
this has been a nice change of pace. Yeah. So a little bit of
somebody to talk to.
Yeah. It's weird because I feel like when the pandemic happened, I kind of just went into my own little bubble even more extremely than normal. I've always been super bad about keeping touch with people. And I'm the kind of person that relationships have fallen off and maybe pick back up later in life. But I've been like the worst friend, I feel like. And due to Tara's diligence and persistence in getting this podcast going, no thanks to my procrastination, now we're getting to sync up every week and see how each other's doing. We're a little older now than we used to be when we met, and life happens and we go through all kinds of things, and it's good to see your face.
Yeah. It was only like 6 months of procrastination, so give yourself a little break on that. Like it was fine. It's fine. We're here now.
You're such a patient person. Bless you.
I am just glad that we get to do this and get to chat through some of the things and like just remember. I've been remembering a lot more from like our college days and things. And I'm like, we had so much fun.
We did have a lot of fun.
I didn't remember like in my own, I'm the same as Sandra. Like I get in my own little bubble and in my own little world and don't call people either. So imagine how this relationship works, this friendship, when neither one of us are calling each other. But
we've always been the type of friends that pick up right where we left off, though, you know?
Yeah. And I had forgotten all kinds of things from college, and it's just fun reminiscing and feeling like you're 22 again, even though you're not, clearly.
Taylor Swift.
Yes. Man, why didn't I say that during our Taylor Swift episode? Like, seriously, I missed a golden opportunity there.
If you haven't listened to that episode, go listen to it. We did an episode on Taylor's version of Wildest Dreams. So that was episode 4. Go listen to it. Okay, self-promo plug.
It is very fun. It's a throwback to Tara and Sandra.
Yeah. So
when we were 22.
Yeah. I would like to express gratitude and appreciate you for cracking the whip and making sure that we do this, because it has been fun. And now everybody else, all you lucky listeners, get to see how dorky Tara and I are in real life, as if that's a big shocker, you know. But
yeah. And if you really want to see how dorky, visit our YouTube, because you can actually see us on YouTube and watch our faces. And you can see my face.
Don't do that.
Sandra's talking where I'm like trying to hold back, interrupting her. I have a problem with that. working on it. But yes,
Tara always
go.
has something to say.
I do. It's a lot of times not something that needs to be said though.
A lot of times on the phone, I don't even have to say anything. Taylor, Tara
It's
just has a
okay.
conversation with herself.
I have to talk it through, Sandra. I have to talk it through.
I'm like, by the end
But
of it, you didn't even need my opinion or anything at all. You were just like, you needed to talk to someone and work it out yourself.
yeah,
Too funny.
yeah. But
What are we talking
speaking of,
about? What are we doing? What have we been up to?
I haven't been up to a whole lot. Kids, just kids.
Yeah, they keep you
I
busy,
this
those
is
little rascals.
this is gonna get into my sour, but me and my kids are playing a lot of card games and things like that, and it has been the week from hell with my kids. Like they will not do anything I say. They want to argue with everything. They want to fight. They want to, and I'm just like losing my patience and my mind at the same time. So yeah, so that's
Yeah,
gonna be my sour.
yeah. I mean, it has to be really sour if Tara is calling you at like 7:40 in the morning to tell you about stuff that her kids are doing, like you did to me the other day.
Yeah, I'm like, oh god, they're driving me crazy.
I was literally lying in bed and just like listening to you rant, but I hope you felt better.
I did. I'm like, I just need to like tell somebody about the little demons living in my house right now.
I have one
But
too. It's okay. I feel ya.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
same here. Not much going on. Still not reading anything, not watching anything, not playing anything, just momming and working on this and
Yeah, this
trying
has
not to
taken
be
up a
a
lot of my time too here
right?
recently. So
Like,
I had
how do
so
these
many episodes to watch of Supernatural that it was not even funny to remember which ones I liked the most. But I did it. I did it for you guys. Not all the
that
way.
was a
It was fun too.
well, you told us a sour. Did you tell us you're sweet?
I did not. Carly is going on a field trip with her school. So it kind of goes along with my sour a little bit because she's going to be gone for 3 days.
It was a field trip for school.
Yes. Yes. They're
Oh.
going to the Smoky Mountains to like
Oh.
go camping, which I'm very interested to see how my daughter does camping because she doesn't like bugs. Very interested to see how this goes. But she is going with some of her classmates and she is a little social butterfly. So, like, I don't know how I have two kids that don't meet a stranger because all I met were strangers when I was a kid. But she's going on this trip and she's going to be away for 3 days and hopefully she enjoys it because she's really excited about it.
I mean, that'll be a nice little break for you. You'll still have Michael though, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Well, maybe a little break. I don't know if
yeah.
you have to be more hands-on because his sister isn't home to help occupy his time. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes when his sister does occupy his time, it's worse because then they're yelling, running up and down the stairs and just
True.
all over causing a ruckus. But
I remember those days. Yep, me and my sister.
I remember when your sister came at you with a fork because you guys were having a fight.
We got
That
into
is
some
like
very
ingrained in my mind.
yeah, we've gotten to some really violent spats. It's like something about me and my sister's personalities. Like we could not be opposites in any like any more of opposites. Like we are just at each other's throats, especially growing up. I'm sure I told Tara, but I feel like I blocked out a lot of the things. Like I didn't remember the fork thing. And then you said it and I was like, oh yeah. But we've had some like on the floor tussles. Yeah. Scary.
I think that's just a sister thing. I don't have a sister, so I don't know from personal experience, but the people that I do know with sisters, like they've all had those moments. Like Justin has a cousin and she has two twin daughters. and one of them had broke her arm at one point, and they're probably going to be mad if they listen to this, me telling the story, but one of them broken her arm at one point, and they got into a fight, and then she used that like against the other one's neck to like choke her.
No,
And
that's
I mean, it's
awful.
funny now, but like
Yeah, but
she was using the advantages she had. But yeah, I think it's a sister thing,
ooh,
especially if
sisters.
you're like close in age. Like if you have like a little sister who's like a lot younger, I doubt you hold her down and choke her.
Yeah, we
But
were two and a
like,
half years apart, and I'm the oldest one, and she's the baby.
mhm.
So I'm not even gonna go into detail about that, but you guys can put it together by what I mean by that. Anyway, hopefully she's not listening because she would come over here and murder me.
Lock your
Sweet and
doors
sours.
tonight, okay?
Okay, sweet and sours. I'll just edit this part out. Um, sweet for me. We're finally over the COVID crap in this household. I was never positive for it. Vincent was never positive for it, but we're over it. So as of Monday, Vincent is back in school. We're continuing T-ball. We got to do our makeup pictures for T-ball. So everything is good there. Have some of my sanity back, slow down the graying of my hair again. So that is a big sweet to look forward to. And then sour wise, this is like such an adult thing to complain about. I got a letter in the mail from the IRS saying like I owe money for 2020. And I'm just like, no, this is wrong. And so now I have to contact them and go through all of that, which I'm sure is going to be fun. And I'm just like, when it rains, it pours. I feel like when you're trying to do stuff and you have a goal in mind, things happen and they just compound and make things more difficult. And so now I have to deal with this other thing. It's kind of like the dentist thing, having to get a filling on an old filling that I got like 12 years ago or something happening out of the blue after I've always been good. So yeah, it's like dental stuff and IRS stuff. It's adult life. It sucks. I just want to be a kid again.
Do you remember as a kid wanting to be an adult so bad?
Yeah.
Like, I just want to go back in time and be like, no, no, you don't. Stop wishing this time away.
I
So bad.
I've come to learn that when I was a kid using that word, throwing it around that I want to be an adult, that I was really using it in place of freedom. Like
Mhm.
what I really wanted was freedom and independence, just the ability to make my own choices and live life how I wanted. And so I always thought that that's what being an adult was about. But being an adult is about so much more responsibility and accountability and all this stuff, not just for you anymore, but
Yeah.
all your little demons, dogs, children, house, whatever.
Yeah.
Sour. I always bring it down with my sours.
Always. But I think we should start doing our sours first and then like picking it back up with our sweets. But like, here's what I don't like. Here's what I
Okay,
do.
fine. That's fair. I'm still gonna call it sweet and sours, but yeah, we can lead with our sours.
Like,
I'm
here's
sorry.
the
I'm such
bad,
a
but we're
downer,
okay.
people. I like have no control over my face or how I'm feeling. I just don't hide it. I wear it all right here on my no sleeves. I just wear it right here. Supernatural. Let's
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
get back on topic.
Hey, so as I mentioned, I take Supernatural very seriously,
But
and we are
how
going to
did you
give spoilers. We are going to give
Oh yeah.
spoilers. So, like, if you don't want spoilers, oh, I don't know how to help you with that. Like, they're going to be there, but hopefully you've watched most of the series and we won't give away anything that
Yeah.
is too serious. It'll just be like a
We're not.
little nuggets here and there.
Yeah.
Okay.
How did you get into Supernatural, Tara?
I feel like it was you. I feel like I started late to the game to Supernatural after you started watching it when we were roommates.
That takes me back.
Yeah. I feel like it was your fault. Blame this whole
I'll take
episode
it.
on Sandra.
I mean, it's a great, I just want to check out of reality and have a few
Mhm.
good chuckles type of show.
You,
And Yeah,
You
it
know,
really
a lot
is.
of this isn't going to happen in real life.
No.
But it's also one of those things that you also know that Dean and Sam love each other and would do anything for each other. And I feel like we're kind of similar. Like, I know I love Sandra. I feel like she loves me
Aww,
too, but
I love
um,
you. I love you,
but yeah,
Tara.
it's that bond where they can say and do anything and the other's going to have their back. They might tell them that they're an idiot,
Yeah.
but they're going to be there
We might
for
have
them through their
disputes,
idiocy.
we've had a couple little disputes and stuff when we were roommates in college, just from like lack
Imagine
of
that.
communication.
We've learned, guys. Um, we keep spouting communication because we know.
It
But yeah,
is key, as they say. But I was trying to, when we decided we were going to do this topic on Supernatural, I was trying to sit here and remember like how I got introduced to it. And I honest to God think that it was Gilmore Girls, because back in the day when Gilmore Girls was
mm-hmm.
huge, I mean, it's still huge in my opinion. Hello. I feel like I can relate to Rory, and you probably feel that way too. But
I do.
yeah.
We were
So
the book. We were the
yeah,
ones carrying the book on the bus and
yeah,
making sure
we
we
didn't go to
read.
prep school or anything like that.
We weren't
But
rich,
no, no, still not rich.
unfortunately.
We get by. We get by. But no, she was just the bookish good girl. She had a really, I always loved the relationship that she had with her mom, Lorelai. I was jealous about that.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we talking about Gilmore Girls?
I don't
Anyway,
know. You brought it up.
yeah. No, okay. In the earlier seasons, Dean was like her first boyfriend, and Dean is played by
Mm-hmm.
actor Jared Padalecki, who is one of the main actors in Supernatural. And another show that I was big into around the same time as Gilmore Girls was Jessica Alba in that James
Dark
Cameron
Angel.
show, Dark Angel. I was
Mm-hmm.
obsessed with Dark Angel. And it's probably where I developed a crush on Jessica Alba and have just been like following her life ever since. She's like one of my idols.
She's amazing.
And oh yeah, I'm just like, is there anything that she cannot do? But anyway, she's such like a brilliant person to look up to, I feel like, in every aspect of life, just with how she treats people and being her concerned with the environment and her kids and all of that. But
And she
yeah,
doesn't
so
age, so
no, she doesn't age. She is also has that Benjamin Button serum of sorts. But yeah,
pass it
so it
around,
was
Jessica.
definitely, yeah, Cher. I think she is with her Honest Beauty Company. But anyway, so Jared Padalecki was in Gilmore Girls, and then in Dark Angel, Jensen Ackles actually played a couple different characters in that show. So I think in the first
Mm-hmm.
season he was Ben, and then he came back as like a Ben clone named Alec, as in Smart Alec, because that was the type of character he played in the second role that he did on that show. And so you had those two guys there, and then they came to Supernatural at some point, and it's like, how do I put this? They were really hot to me.
Yeah.
Like, they are really great eye candy and they're hilarious on screen together. And I also
Yes.
love horror. Like, I love any kind of monster lore and suspense and horror elements of movies and TV shows. So this one, Supernatural, started off very much like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it'd go into like Bloody Mary lore and Wendigos and creepy children stuff and all kinds of stuff, ghosts. And I was hooked. So you have, I mean, you want to go into what the main plot line is and who their characters
Yeah.
are?
Yeah. So you have Dean and Sam, so Jensen and Jared, or J squared as they're called together. And they play brothers, Dean and Sam, I just mentioned that, who had an unconventional childhood. And their mom died in a freak demon attack. Their mom was the hunter side of their family, and her family had been hunters for generations. So when she died, his dad took over, or their dad took over, and just took them on their own. And that's where we pick them up later on, is when their dad disappears. And we get to follow them through the trials and tribulations of saving the world. How many times? Like 5 times.
Lost count.
Armageddon happened and all of these things. And they just kept on hunting and trying to save people and trying to figure out what was killing people and loving each other and supporting each other the whole time. That's my
Well
synopsis.
put. Yeah, well put. I think since it was 15 seasons long, I think I stopped watching around the 10th, maybe 11th season, something like that. So I haven't seen the later seasons, which I plan to correct that here soon.
In all your free
But
time.
in all my free time, people, I have so much free time. And the story starts off really small. It's literally kind of like a mystery of these two boys trying to figure out what happened to their mom because they really don't know. They suspect it was this demon related incident. And their dad, John, he is on, he has like picked up on some clues that he thinks can help with it. And so he's being very secretive about it. So the boys are like trying to get in touch with their father, John, and figure out what happened with their mom. And as the seasons go along, the story just kind of zooms out and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So as the series progresses, you have things like ghosts and your usual types of supernatural beings. And then there's demons and angels that come into the mix, and archangels and God and Lilith and Lucifer. And then even beyond God, it jumps into different worlds. I mean, it just like it keeps zooming out and zooming out and zooming out. So I think I stopped watching around the 10th or 11th season just because it was getting so much bigger than itself. But it always maintained like that really punchy, funny factor, just that pure entertainment and amusement. I always love that.
And like I said, the brothers care about each other so much, but you also see that with Jensen and Jared. Like, I feel like they could be brothers in real life too. Like, you get the sense that they genuinely like being around each other on set. They genuinely like, I think they even moved close to each other, like when they were filming and things. Austin, yeah. And so, and they own like another company together. And so you get the feeling that they genuinely enjoy what they do too, which is so lovely. You don't.
I know we could all be so fortunate to experience that with someone, right?
Yeah.
Like really great friendship that you build something together.
Yeah.
But they're adorable when you see them at any kind of like footage of them being in cons and stuff like that.
I just love the way that they kind of interact and you can feel their bond. And that leads me into one of my favorite episodes, which is in season 6. It's called The French Mistake. And Dean and Sam are fighting an angel, and this angel kind of teleports them or something. They get sucked into an alternate dimension, like you were saying. They spread out and into other worlds and things like that. And so they got sucked into this alternate dimension, and it was the set of Supernatural. So they get sucked into being Jensen and Jared. And they're very confused by this at first because they're like, who are these people? What are we doing? And neither one of them can act, which is very interesting to me. But then you get to like, they go to Jared's house and he's married to Ruby from earlier seasons. And Dean even comments on it. He's like, dude, you married fake Ruby. And it's just funny to see their two worlds, like their real world and our universe, colliding with their supernatural universe. And it was just one of those episodes that was so funny and a funny take on two different parts of their life. The one thing I think is just really, really great about it is they take them, but they split them up. Like, on the set, Jared and Jensen don't talk. They don't like each other. And that's so far from real life here, but also Dean and Sam, like, they love each other. They love being around each other. But in this alternate universe, they don't. And so everybody was freaking out that they're talking again. and that they are willing to work with each other and are, you know, being friendly and all of that. And it's just hilarious. Another thing is they make fun of themselves, their real lives in this episode. So like Dean makes fun of the fact that, or Jensen, I don't know, they're interchangeable now, but Dean makes fun of the fact that Jensen was in a soap opera, and they play a scene from his soap opera days, which he was very, very young in. And at, more power to you if you like soap operas, but they are like very dramatic. And so he was very dramatic in that scene. And I love it. And they poke fun of the fact that Bobby Singer, the character in Supernatural, was named after one of the producers or whatever in Supernatural. And so that guy is in the episode on the set. And Dean makes a comment about like, what kind of an asshole do you have to be to name a character after yourself? And it's just funny that they're just poking so much fun at their own show on their show.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love that they started doing that. I feel like more and more in the later seasons. In the beginning, it felt like they were taking their roles really seriously. These two brothers sacrificing for each other over and over again in these life or death situations. But the relationship that they have in real life, you can feel it on screen when you watch them together. They are so hilarious. They are goofy. They're always poking fun at each other. And as the series matures and goes on, they just get more and more open to making fun of themselves in the show. And like, it has such a huge following. Like Supernatural is like one of the go-to spots at these huge Comic Cons, like every single year. People love seeing Jared and Jensen. They have grown into some very handsome looking men over the years.
I like the way you said that. Very handsome.
They're handsome men and dads. They're both dads, right? Yeah, they are.
Yeah, with multiple children too. So
yeah, I feel like I know you same way, but like we grew up with them. When you watch season 1, episode 1 to whatever latest episode, there's like such a difference in how they look. They have just grown so much. Like Jared was basically a kid when he started this show. He looks like the little Gilmore, scrawny, little, tall, skinny Gilmore Girls guy. And then by the end, he's just like
Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. I just love it. It's like a feel-good show.
But they started like poking fun at themselves very early on too. Like season 2, they did an episode called Hollywood Babylon, where they go to the WB set and they're trying to find like a murderer on a set of a TV or a movie. I think it was like a horror movie. And that murder didn't actually happen, but they figured out that there were some ghosts killing people too. And so that was kind of what they were doing. But in that episode, Dean loves the set. He's really enjoying himself and just having fun learning all about that. And one of the sets that they go to is Gilmore Girls, and they cut to Jared's face when they mention Gilmore Girls, and he's just like, and then they're like, and you could even see one of the cast or whatever, one of the stars of the show, and like he just hops out of like the tour and he's like, I'm done, peace. Like I don't want to do this anymore. And so they started making like poking fun at their real lives very early on in the show. And it just progressively got more and more as it aged and they got more comfortable as a show and as actors themselves. But
I mean, they were such a successful show. They got themselves into this little pickle of so many people. I mean, where do I go next? They keep making it bigger and bigger and bigger, but then they never took themselves seriously either, so they could just have fun with it. But it's like they had such a huge fan base that loved them no matter what they did, and they kept the show around as long as they could. So I'm looking forward to watching the later episodes just to see what they did. But I mean, the show is so meta, and just like the episode titles. Can we talk about the titles for a second too? Like most of the episode titles are like pop culture references too. So it's like, I know there was one episode that had Paris Hilton in it. And so they always like point to like different things. So it's kind of fun trying to figure out what was going on in the real world whenever these episodes were coming out, just based on the title too. So it's like another little fun part of it.
Yeah. So my first favorite one is from season 7, and its title is Time After Time, which I feel like everybody knows that song, but it is about the god of time. Yeah.
Kronos.
Kronos. I'm like, is he the god of time? Now that I'm saying that, it sounds wrong. But he is played by Doring. Wow. Jason Doring. And he was Logan Eccles on Veronica Mars. So that may be part of the reason that he's like, this is my favorite. But it also has some, like, I like the time travel and the travel and other worlds parts of these. But so this episode, Dean gets taken back in time by Cronus, and they end up in 1944, which I know I've mentioned. I think I should have been born in like the 20s or the 40s or whatever. I love those time periods. But he gets taken back to 1944 and has to try and figure out a way out of 1944, but also kill this god before he kills another person. And so there's a lot going on, and a couple of I like the funny parts to it. I'm not super big of a horror fan, so I like the like sarcastic and funny parts to it. Yeah. And so there's one part where they're trying to figure out how Kronos has so much money, because his alias is a normal human being, right? And so they're like, how does he have enough money to do all of this stuff? And Dean goes looking through a journal, and he's like, he's doing a Biff. And if you get that, it's a Back to the Future where Biff like uses the like almanac from the future, and he uses it to bet on things where he already knows the outcome. So that's what Cronus is doing. And so later on in the episode, Dean meets Elliot Ness, and they try and track down Cronus because Elliot Ness is apparently a hunter too. But Dean is very upset that he doesn't know any of the Untouchables, the movie quotes, and he's not really like those movie quotes. And so Dean gets a little agitated by that. But they then continue, and they're trying to figure out a way to get out of that time, or Dean is, and he's like, you know what, I could do a Back to the Future 3, where he wrote on a note and put it in like a little like cubby hole in the house that he knew Sam was staying in the future, and then wrote Sam on it, like on the outside of the little door hinge or whatever, so Sam would see it and open it and then know where to like try and help him get back. And so I don't know, it's just all kinds of pop cultural references going on in there that I really loved. Just brought it to so many different levels. And I'm sorry, my dog is whining in the background. I don't know why. She's just like walking around going, nobody's paying attention.
She's sad. She's probably mourning.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Sorry. I brought a downer again. I'm sorry.
Wow. I'm trying to be positive and like, I like these funny parts. And you're like,
yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll have to watch an earlier episode, but okay.
Yeah. We don't want to bring it down any further than it is.
So your favorites are these ones that just poke fun at themselves and bring it back to what's actually going on in real life outside of the show. I love those too. Those are so much fun.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Which ones are your, well, I have a couple others, but I was going to give you a chance, but I also like the one where they come in for a missing teacher, don't know what's going on, and they're kind of arguing whether or not that's actually one of their cases, but they get there, and this group of girls in an all-girls school is doing a musical about their lives. So they're doing a supernatural musical, and it is just so fantastic because again, they get to see their world in a different perspective. and we
They're
get to see
always like,
them.
what the fuck? I love their expressions every time this
they're
happens
like,
to them.
why is this happening? But they get to see their worlds again in a different like viewpoint, and by the end of it they get to change their viewpoint because they were kind of at odds about what they thought should be their next step and their, you know, relationship and all of that. But by the end you see them kind of melding back together and forming that bond again and all of that. And it's fantastic to see a different side of the same situation, kind of like what you were talking about Mr. Corman a couple episodes back. You know, we saw the same show but we took it two different ways, and like
I love that.
being willing to understand the other person or to like hear them out. And that's what this episode does for them. It gives them a little bit of a
That's it. That's a great segue into one of my favorite episodes, actually.
we're doing awesome with these segues here.
I know. It's like we're on today.
We didn't plan this, guys.
No, I don't know. I think it's the middle of or toward the end of the second season. There's an episode called Tall Tales. And so the episode starts and Dean and Sam are at each other's throats. Like Sam is trying to do research on what's happening in this town, and Dean is just being Dean. He's being super obnoxious. He's slobby. He's just like really selfish and just like has no awareness or thought into like Sam's privacy or anything like that. So they're very much, yeah, Sam. So little context here. If you haven't seen the series, Sam is really, really sensitive. He always takes a really empathetic approach to people that they talk to. And Dean is like very comical and just comes out of left field sometimes with some of the stuff that he says. He's a little more outrageous, but the mixture of them two together is always like so funny and satisfying to watch. So this episode opens with them just like back and forth. They're just like sick of being around each other. They're sharing a hotel room together as they always do. And like, they just cannot get along. And so what's happening in this town is this professor, this ethics and morality professor jumped out of a window. Like it looks like a suicide, but this ethics and morality professor was not very ethical because there was this woman, what appeared to be a woman, visited him in his office and he totally welcomed it. And he's married and all this stuff, but he's kind of, he seems like he's a little higher up on the narcissistic spectrum, very much into himself and all of his accomplishments. So he entertains the idea of inviting this girl up to his office and thinks that he's going to get some ass in the office. And she turns out to be a murderous ghost. And she flings him out the window and he dies. But then there's like other strange happenings. So this college frat guy claims that aliens abducted him and were probing him and dancing with him to like, he's like emotionally scarred from all of this happening. Yeah. But like,
this sounds like a college I would not want to attend.
No, or if you're just sitting on the sidelines watching these people make asses of themselves, it could be interesting in that regard. But I tie this back to what you were saying about Mr. Corman and just like, it's interesting how one event people can have very opposing views on what happened. And so this episode, Dean keeps trying to tell this story, and then Sam will interject and be like, no, that's not how it was at all. And then he tells his version of the story. So every time Sam tells his version of it, Dean is like stuffing his mouth full of like cookies or pie or just food in general, or just being totally sleazy at a bar, hitting on a girl that's not classy at all, like the trashiest person in the bar, and just like drinking and all this stuff. And then Dean will be like, that's not how it was at all. She was a really classy chick. And then he'll talk to Sam and act like Sam is just like, what are you doing? And is like so judgmental and has a stick up his butt in how Dean is. And it's just so hilarious. And it's a trickster episode, which some of my favorite episodes of Supernatural involve the trickster just because of the mayhem that always comes about with him just having a good time and always putting people at odds with each other. And it's always like something very ironic too. Like, yeah, So that's like one of my favorite episodes. Like I will die laughing every time I watch this episode. It just makes me chuckle so much.
I know the show is supposed to be like, I don't know, not supposed to be serious, but like it's a horror show. There's like all these monsters and things. So the fact that it can also make you laugh as a ghost is literally killing somebody, it 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 has to be super funny in order to take you out of that like being scared and I don't know, whatever, and make you laugh at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, those earlier seasons, especially, I was so vested in the relationship between the brothers and trying to figure out what happened to their mom and all this demon stuff bubbling up. Like I was so like into it. It did kind of feel like a soap opera. And sometimes that comes out in their acting, I
Yeah.
feel like, which makes it even better. But there is an episode in the first season. It's when they're on a hunt and Dean gets electrocuted and his heart
Oh
like
yeah.
is damaged really
Stops or
severely,
whatever.
and they're basically like Dean has like maybe a month to live, and
Mhm.
Sam is just beside himself grieving and doesn't know what to do, and he's very desperate to find a solution to letting Dean have a full life again. So he takes him to Nebraska to see a miracle worker, and in this particular episode the miracle worker's wife is basically channeling some kind of, she's controlling reapers, and so the reapers are taking the lives of innocents in exchange for performing these acts of miracles on other people who come to this church to get healed and stuff like that. So that's the whole premise of the episode. But it's like one of the mentionable things about the Supernatural series is the soundtrack, and that particular episode is like Don't Fear the Reapers. It's like every single episode has like such a perfect classic rock song, and it just like reminds me of moving across country with my dad because he was in the military and his favorite genre of music is classic rock, and so it brings me back to that. So it's like I had to mention that episode to me with the reapers and that, and the music of the show in general is like one of my favorite aspects of the show.
Yeah. And I like how Jensen and Jared play on that too, because if you know anything about like the Comic Cons that they go to, Jensen is an amazing singer. And so he does all of these songs. And there's one, I don't, it's not actually in an episode, but it's like at the end of an episode, and it's him like lip singing to Eye of the Tiger.
Mhm.
And I love that song. It's so great. But like seeing him like when it goes rising up and he's like sitting up in baby,
It
it
leaves
makes
me
me
in
laugh every
stitches.
time. And so they play on the songs too. And like the episode that I was mentioning, the musical, their end song in that was Carry On Wayward Son. And it's
Mm.
just, and Dean even makes a comment about like Sam makes a comment about really like he's questioning their choice in songs, and Dean and the director like it's a classic at the same time. It's just great. And I also love Dean's saying that he does a lot, which is like driver picks the music,
Yeah,
passenger
yeah.
shuts his cake hole.
Pie hole. Pie hole.
Pie hole,
Is
yes, because
yeah,
he
'cause
eats pie more than cake.
he's
but
obsessed with pie. Yeah.
but yeah, like they have so many like comments like that that are just so perfectly acted, but also hilarious. Like when I don't know, they have another one where like Sam calls Dean a jerk and Dean calls him a bitch. And he did that in this episode too
Was
to the director, who's like a 17-year-old girl. And so she's like, she calls him a jerk and he's like, bitch. And she's like, why are you calling
love
me
it.
that? It's just it's so great. Like they can pull you back in and out from like the super serious, I don't know, Wendigo attack to
Yeah.
snark and
Just
hilarious.
yeah, it's just such good chaos. I love it. It's such a feel good show. And now that it's
Mhm.
officially fall and the weather's changing, it puts me in the mood to like go back and watch this. It's like that type of show. It's just such a
Yeah.
it's such a good, cozy, comforting, funny show.
Well, and with Halloween coming up,
Ooh.
monsters and things
Mm,
like that in
I
there.
love
It's
it.
I don't think that I don't remember them ever doing a Halloween episode though. Like ever.
If they did, they definitely made fun of it or something like that. Like pumpkins. They did a scarecrow something at one point. I remember a scarecrow.
Yeah, they did a scarecrow one, but like it wasn't like the quintessential Halloween or like I don't remember any holiday episodes. Like was there a Christmas one?
They had a Christmas one where it was the pagan Santa that kept killing people in the household. And it was tied to the wreaths that they were putting, something that was in the wreath was like summoning this guy in a
Santa.
suit. And then there was like a Bloody Valentine one, which was a play off of one of Jensen's movies. It was like,
no, it was Jared's movie, wasn't it?
no, it was
Or was it
Jensen, My
Jensen's?
Bloody Valentine. It was one of the first 3D movies that came out at the time, My
Yeah.
Bloody Valentine. I saw it in theaters and yeah, it was such a bad movie, but it's
feel
good
like
that
there
they
was
can make
also,
fun
like,
of it.
Yeah, I feel like there was also one. Jared was in Friday the 13th, wasn't he?
Mhm.
That was his horror movie that came out.
House
like,
of Wax or something like that. Yeah.
That was the one with Paris Hilton too.
Yes. Yeah.
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 But yeah, so it was, I don't know, they do the horror spectrum too, but like this show just takes it a different angle, which is great.
If you like some scaries, watch it. Even if you don't like scaries, you will enjoy it so much.
So I had an honorable mention of an episode, and it had nothing to do with the episode at all, really, but I think it was called Skins, and it was a shapeshifter one or something like that. And the reason I liked it, going back to Jensen, because Jensen's my favorite. Like I love Jared, don't get me wrong, but Jensen's my dude. He's the sarcastic, snarky, I don't know. Now that Sandra's mentioned that he's a slob and eats all the time, maybe like I like to eat, whatever. But he is in that one, and the shapeshifter takes over like not his body, but like I don't know, copies him. And then in one scene, he like removes his skin, and so like he takes off Jensen's shirt, or Jensen like playing this guy takes off his shirt. There's like 5 seconds of greatness right there. I love it. I don't like the rest of it. It's kind of gross when the skin comes off and all that.
Tara has always been appreciative about the risque scenes with eye candy.
yes.
I've always loved that about you.
If no other time you watch the show, that 5 seconds right there, that's great. Make sure to pause it before the skin comes off, just warning you. But yeah,
one of my honorable mentions is it's a Groundhog Day type of episode, which I feel like there were at least a couple of these types on the show. But this one is called Mystery Spot, and the brothers go to this like podunk nowhere town. That's one draw of visitors, is like this weird little museum place of dark, whimsy type of stuff. And so Dean dies in this episode, and Sam keeps reliving it over and over and over. And at one point, Dean's like chokes on a breakfast burrito or something like that. And it's just like
this one
over and over. It's like like by the end, Sam is just like losing his mind from experiencing this over and over. But I think it was another trickster episode, right?
Doesn't he die in different ways?
Oh yeah.
Like
it's
doesn't
always
it
like
keep getting more and
something
more
fell
ridiculous?
on him. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like no matter what, he's gonna die horribly.
Yeah. I also love the fact that they were born in Lawrence, Kansas. So right over the Missouri line. And a lot of their episodes were, because they put like where the episode is at the bottom of the screen when it starts. A lot of them were like the Missouri area. And there was even one in Carthage, Missouri. I think it was like an end of the world one.
Yep.
Which, if you know anything about Carthage, Missouri, it's a tiny town near like Joplin and Springfield, but it is the home to the Precious Moments Chapel. And I love this place so much. And in my head, it was hilarious to me that like they're the end of the world is going on in this town that nobody's ever heard of besides people from Carthage. So if you're from Carthage, sorry. But
I have seen that Precious Moments Chapel back in the day.
And we took a field trip there in school. Like, yeah,
I didn't. I went with my grandpa.
But anyway, so like it's in this town or whatever. And then in my personal life, I know it for the Precious Moments Chapel, which is like a very like Christian thing. And it's just, I don't know, it's places I've been, and to see them in a show, it just like connects.
Yeah, well, hell, we had to drive through or past Carthage every time we went to and from college back in the day.
Yeah.
Like it was like on the route. But this is before there were Google Maps people. We would print our MapQuest instructions in our little piece of paper and we would just figure it out.
That's not the shortest way anymore. So
No,
we may
probably
have
not.
been going the wrong really route, but it got us where we needed to go.
Yeah,
So,
those are some good
but-
days in the car with
but
you.
yeah. Sandra
Which is
always
kinda
had to
like-
drive.
Yeah, I don't mind driving, but we'd blast some girl music and it's kind
Mhm.
of like Dean and Sam. They're always in their Impala, beautiful old
Yeah.
car and blasting classic rock. And I don't know, it just brings that energy and those vibes.
Passenger shuts their pie hole.
And shut your pie hole, Tara. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love this show. It's just a fun take on family, on friendship, because I think that they would be friends even if they weren't family. But and different kinds of family. Like family isn't always blood. They have multiple members of their family that are hunters that were there for them, like Bobby Singer in the show is like a surrogate uncle or surrogate dad. And
Mhm.
he's not related to them in real life, but they pick him, he picks them. And so it's a fun take on that with a little bit
Yeah.
of horror mixed in and things like that.
Yeah. I
don't
there's
think
so
that-
much to love about the show. It's the
Mhm.
relationships, the brotherly relationships, the music, the scaries, the humor. It just has all of it. It has a little bit of everything for everyone.
Mhm. And I think Jared and Jensen also have all of those things. Like they are
Mhm.
such good human beings in real life.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know all the stories about Jensen and, like his not so great times, not condoning those, but like they
I mean, everyone deserves a chance to grow.
Mhm. Yeah, they try. They try to help. They try to make the world a better place. And that means a lot, I think. So
I agree.
I think my dog is freaking out behind me with her toy. So if you see that, she's throwing it around and living her best life behind me and probably making a whole lot of noise.
Yeah. I always keep I had the dogs like last time. I always have to remember to kick them out because they will like start gnawing on something so loud the whole time. I'm just like, ah. But anyway, so we always, as we've said before on each episode, we always love to tie these episodes back to a good cause and a charity. So for this one, Tara, I was thinking of, how Jared Padalecki in real life, he's really big into suicide prevention and awareness, that type of thing.
Mhm.
Always Keep Fighting is the one that he's really involved with. So I thought we could promote that one and tie it back to this one.
Mhm. And he normally does like 24-hour like promotions or whatever where he sells shirts and that's how they make the money. And sometimes he'll sign the shirts or he'll make a call to people and things like that. So definitely be on the lookout for one of those promotions because I don't think he does it all the time. But it is a neat way
Yeah.
of getting something at the same time you are helping someone.
Yeah. So Always Keep Fighting, I think is the name of the campaign he's super involved
Mhm.
with, but Write Love on Her Arms, I think is the
Mhm.
official organization. But yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
we hope,
I'm going to stand up because I have their Supernatural Always Keep Fighting shirt on.
Oh, you
now.
do?
Oh, it's got Baby and Sam and Dean, and it's an Always Keep Fighting.
Aw, I like that shirt.
Yeah, it's a
All
bit
of you
slower than
listeners
it
on the
used to
actual
be.
podcast, all of you listeners on the podcast, you'll have to jump over to YouTube to see this shirt that Tara's talking about. But I'm sure that you could, we'll link it in the show notes too, because I feel like
Yeah.
these shirts are available.
Yeah, they
But
have different ones all the time. And some of them have Dean and Sam's face on them. Some of them just have always keep fighting. I have a couple different ones. I have a purple one that just says always keep fighting. Yeah, they have different designs, different promos all the time. So
the always keep fighting. I love that. It's a good message to keep
mhm.
remembering during
I
the
think
dark times.
this one says family always has your back too, because it was their like, I don't know, something anniversary one.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
that's the name of their business in real life, Family Business.
Mm-hmm.
Play
Yep.
off of the show. It's so cool how, I mean, everything that they've done is just
The world
so, yeah, everything is
intertwined.
mixed together.
Yep.
But anyway, hope you enjoyed this episode of learning about Tara and my favorite supernatural episodes. And it's October officially. So it's a great time to
Mhm.
watch the show if you haven't already, or to revisit them and get some good laughs. But thanks for tuning in, guys.
And don't forget to follow us on our socials at Story Darlings for Twitter, and then just Story Darlings for Facebook and Instagram, and our website, storydarlings.com, to sign up for our newsletter.
Yeah, we're getting that going. So really excited
Yeah.
about everything that we have planned. But thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you next week. All right.
Have a good week.
Bye. Yeah,
Bye.
bye.